Tempest.
Alright guys, this is Nick Saber with Printing here with a SaberCast. I plan on casting Prey tonight because they were supposed to scrim, but apparently that's not going to happen. Different obligation, it is Friday night. Some people want to get out and do some things. So instead, we're going to cast Playmaker's new team. The team name, which is actually pretty cool. I was just talking to Nick, and he said the team is One Team, One Dream, which is a pretty cool name, I think. And they're going up against some of the boys from thinkQUICK. No Love is a name that I particularly recognize. Let me turn the volume down on this background music. I'm picking it up too much.
Glacius.
Alright. Okay, so let's first go over the bands here. Put on /DND. Alright, so first and foremost, we have Keeper the Forest, Bandout, Scout, Ophelia, Wretched Hag. The first pick being Engineer from thinkQUICK side, followed up by the Tempest on the One Team, One Dream side. I should have my friends list too. I'm going to follow that up with the Warbeast. So, it looks like One Team, One Dream is actually going to follow a similar team fight strategy that they had yesterday, or not yesterday, the other day against Prey. They do seem like they're a big proponent of using the Warbeast in a suicide role. Tempest, obviously, in the jungle. Looks like thinkQUICK, they have that Gemini right-clicked. Gemini has been an absolute powerhouse recently. A lot of teams seem to be picking him up.
Gemini.
It's just the scalability. He probably has the best scalability of any hero in the team. The two things that you're looking for late game from a carry are obviously attack speed and attack damage, but whenever you can include armor penetration and movement speed in with the hero on top of the attack speed and the attack damage, you ultimately have basically the perfect pickup for a team lineup like that, especially if you want to take it to the late game. It looks like One Team, One Dream is going to pick up that Master of Arms, which is pretty standard pick. A lot of teams will pick Master of Arms first pick just because of his versatility. You can play him in pretty much every role. Support, secondary, support, roam. You can even play him as a hard carry if you like. Team famous for doing that was the old Complexity or Team USA. Trout was always a huge fan of picking up the Master of Arms. So we're in the secondary banning stage right now. It looks like thinkQUICK banned Torturer, which, Torture is one of those really good all around here also. Kraken, which is on a diamond tier, is basically first pick material. It's surprising that you don't see him picked up more in gold tier games as a first pick, but the meta is slightly different down here. Followed by the Corrupted Disciple, and let's see who Playmaker decides to ultimately go with here. I really like to see that Grinex pick up if thinkQUICK ultimately decides to go with that. You can play him as a suicide hero, but his burst potential is unreal. And he can actually carry you through the mid-game, similar to like a Ravener or a Pestilence or a hero of that nature. Anytime you have a hero that has a built-in invis like that, especially with burst, you have to be so cautious of him. Absolutely. And that's the thing. If they let it go to the very last pick, it'll be a great pickup for thinkQUICK. So Playmaker, he ultimately decides to go with the Ravener. I don't know. If I was Playmaker, I probably would let that ride and seen if I could pick it up later on. I don't know what thinkQUICK typically runs as a lineup, but Ravener is one of those heroes that if you could pick it up later on as a final pick or something like that, I mean, that if you think about it, the games that truly made Ravener famous were the original Lions games where they stomped SG, and the first time he was picked up in that situation, it was like a last pick. So they do go with the Grinex. They pick him up second to last, but you could have well, see, thinkQUICK, they were smart about it because they banned Pestilence. Now, when they ban Pestilence, that makes Grinex not as effective. I'm sorry. When they ban Pestilence, that allows them to pick up that Grinex and make him even more effective than what he would normally be. I don't know what Playmaker's going to go here. Gunblade. All right. This is going to be a really interesting game. Gunblade is one of those heroes that is... He is so underrated and underplayed on the competitive scene. The burst potential is unreal, especially if you pair him with a physical heavy team. So say Warbeast, I'm sorry, not Warbeast, but Playmaker decides to pick up something like an Andromeda, which would be a great, absolutely great pickup here. The minus armor potential for that team with the War Cry coming out from Warbeast, which is, I'm sorry, the Battle Cry, which is going to give the bonus DPS, the Crippling Slugs, which is all physical, the Goo from Master of Arms, which is physical damage with minus physical armor, and I'm really hoping to go with an Andromeda pickup here. The pairing is just incredible. But thinkQUICK does pick up the Bubbles final pick, which is really, really good pick. Most of the time you never see a Bubbles go that late or go unbanned. But they're going to have to pick up a hard support here, unless they plan on playing that Master of Arms in that role, which I think he's played much better as a secondary support. They have a whole minute to think about it. Playmaker's really thinking hard about this. See, this thing, I don't know. It might be just the pub strat, but I could not tell you how many times I've played Andromeda Gunblade, which I hate playing support, but that's pretty much what I typically do. I play support whenever I'm TMMing or when I queue up with a group of people, or even if I have to ring for a game. But Andromeda he pairs so well with Gunblade, so well with Gunblade. See, I really want to see what he goes with here so I can try to figure out what their lane setup. I mean, they have to go with the solid support or a secondary support. They don't have an option here. 6 seconds. I don't imagine they're going to let it tick down to random. Gaunlet. Alright, so they are going to play the Master of Arms as a hard support, which, like I said, I'm not really a fan of. You're probably going to see the Warbeast playing the suicide role. I don't know. They might send Gaunlet mid solo? I'm not entirely sure how the Hellborn team is going to line this up. But we're going to see the Grinex played in the suicide role.
Let's get it on.
Other than that, on the Legion team, they have a lot of lineup potential. I mean, a lot of lane potential. How they could want to play this. They could do a roaming engineer, roaming Glacius. They're going to have the Gemini farming short, probably with a Glacius babysitting him. All right, so let's see how the items first get picked up here. It looks like Gauntlet's going to be pooled regen, so he may be going. Okay, Gauntlet is pooled regen. Here's the regen from Tails. So, yeah, they are playing this Master of Arms as the hard support, which we've already established. It looks like they're going to send this Gunblade mid, which is not a bad decision. The Gunblade, a lot of people don't think he has an escape mechanism, but with his shield, it does purge off all debuffs, and it does soak up damage, which is pretty nice. It also gives him a little bit of a movement speed buff. They are roaming around here, but I think they were spotted. Yeah, okay, so they were spotted by Playmaker's hounds. Alright. And I'm trying to see here. Did they pull regen on anybody on... They did not. And we're going to get a pause here. Well, I can take this time to thank some of our sponsors. Pitco, which is the Pittsburgh Land Coalition. If you have an opportunity to check those guys out, they're the biggest land party. One of the biggest land parties in the Mid-Atlantic region. Can't Stop This. Can't Stop This is... just have to check it out for yourself. Can't Stop This, all one word. thinkcomputers.org. Pretty much the place you want to go for all your computer news and computer reviews, computer component reviews. And the GXL is the largest land party on the East Coast of the United States. It's based out of the Philly, New York City area. If you have an opportunity, you guys should check out one of their events. Alright, let's click around the map here. So, I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do these lanes. I imagine the Grinex is going to stay top and run the suicide. The engineer and Bubbles, I imagine, will be mid. The engineer Bubbles mid. And we're going to see the Gemini and the Glacius rotate to this bottom lane, which is going to be a pretty big rotation. But Glacius did do a really good job about... Oh, it's not going to let me... I wonder why I can't click off. Huh. I've never had that happen before. That's really interesting. It's not letting me move around the map freely like I want to. Oh my. Well, at least we have some half-decent background music to listen to, guys. I really like to figure out why the hell is my camera's locked like that. There we go. I wonder why it automatically locks camera like that. Once selected, the camera will always follow the selected player. Yeah, we're just going to stick with the spacebar, guys. Alright, so back to what I was trying to say. Glacius does end up getting a ward down here. This will block. We'll block this camp. This Dust of Revelation, this Ward of Revelation will actually block this camp here, which is a pretty good position because you will be able to see anybody coming up the river beyond this point. If they do counter this early on. It looks like Master Worms does have 2 wards with them, so we'll get to see if they are going to try to block any of these camps. I really don't see the reason why they would try to block any of these camps. It's not like any of these heroes are going to be in the jungle unless they intend on stacking for this Gemini bottom. Gemini's not really that fast early on at clearing creep camps, though. But this this Tempest, he probably has some general idea that they are in their jungle and that they have warded. So he may play in the Legion jungle, knowing that early on they're not going to leave this lane. The Glacius may leave the lane to stack, but if he's caught, this Tempest with his minions, especially if he has like post-evolved minions, you just absolutely melt this Glacius. They have a lot of wards on them. This Engineer and this Glacius are they're going to ward up their entire jungle. Alright, looks like we're going to get ready to go here. Yeah, well, they need to... This is the scrim, so I look at it like this. If you're going to wait till now to figure it out, you don't wait till you get into the game. It's a scrim. You're supposed to be practicing stuff you already talked about. So, let's see if Engineer drops this ward down. He does. And I don't know if Glacius is going to put down his final ward. And he probably is. Okay, so they've warded every camp but the yellow camp. Bubbles is spotted down here by the Tempest. So they're going to have some idea that this Tempest is going to be in this jungle.
which is going to make for collapse from mid and bottom lane pretty easily. Okay, so I couldn't have been more wrong again with my laning. It looks like the Bubbles is going to lane bottom. So they're going to prioritize farm on the Bubbles. Potentially to try to get him that early portal key. We're going to have the Grinex mid, which I thought for sure he'd be suicide. But we have the Gemini engineer top. So the engineer is going to babysit this Gemini. We might okay, so we're going to have a tri-lane top. Tri-lane Glacius, Gemini, engineer top. The Grinex is mid against the Master of Arms and the Gunblade. Master of Arms is going to be... The whole purpose of him being in this lane is basically to try to get the Grinex out. And we're going to see a... Yeah, okay. So we have the Suicide Warbeast. The one thing that I actually did call right is going to be in a suicide sense just because he's going against the tri-lane. Normally this would be a farming short lane, but you're not actually going to see that here. You're going to see more of a farming presence on the Gaunlet, who probably... I was going to say, he thinks he's in a suicide role, but he's not because he has the coverage of the Tempest here.
So, I have a feeling we're going to see a kill in this mid lane first, just based on the fact that the forked lightning and the stun and the crippling slugs. Like, you may see something actually right here. Nope. They're looking for the opportunity. But early on, this Gemini is basically having no problem up top. It doesn't even look like the Warbeast is going to even try to stay in the lane.
Which makes sense. But the only thing about it is this gives the opportunity for this Glacius as an engineer to roam like they are doing. Where they're roaming mid, they do have... No, they don't. They don't have sight of them coming. So this might be really bad for either this Master of Arms or this Gunblade. They do see them. They may have caught the... Yeah, okay, so they caught the engineer with a ward of sight that was sitting up on top of the hill. Maybe if he would have ran down a little bit further, they wouldn't have seen that actually coming in. Bubbles did push the lane really, really, really far. This is probably going to give Gaunlet a really good time here with lane control. But they are roaming to try to catch this this Tempest. They do know he's down here just because of early on when the Bubbles spotted him. So, oh man, he's in a really bad spot. They're not going to try to turn this. So right now, Gemini is currently leading in farm, which I wouldn't expect anything else. 14-2 as compared to the 14-4 Gunblade. Okay, I take that back. It's early on, so the gold farm lead can jump after 1 or 2 creeps. So right now, Gunblade is your leading farmer, 16-4 compared to this. Okay, the exact same farm. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop talking about farm. But basically, right now, the Gunblade in the middle is farming at the exact same rate as the Gemini top. The only difference is the Gemini is going to soak up more experience because he's not splitting it with another person in the lane. The Gemini is chasing down this Warbeast and doing a lot of chip damage on him. That early on armor penetration is a huge deal because Warbeast does not have that high of starting armor. 3.7 right now, and that's after being level 3. So... pretty much every auto attack, and I missed the auto. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there was roam bottom. They did kill the Gauntlet. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought that they'd catch somebody like the Tempest early on, but it looks like Tempest did a half-decent job of either countering the wards in the jungle or they just let because the other ones that were there, they were all revs, so they probably just timed out already. So, thinkQUICK did get the Bloodlust kill, which I can commend them on, with the roaming Glacius and Engineer. The only thing about that is, right now they're ahead in experience and gold. If they continue to roam, they're not going to be ahead in experience at all. And that is going to be a huge deal going into the mid-game, especially if you have heroes like Warbeast, who are going to catch up really, really quickly. The Gauntlet, all he needs is level 6. So once he hits level 6, he's probably not going to stay in that lane anymore. He's just going to start roaming around. And once the Gunblade hits level 6, he's the same thing. Exact same thing. So other than the Gemini farming really, really, really well, the Tempest, who had to struggle early on due to being in the Legion jungle, is not doing too bad after he transitioned back to the Hellborn jungle. It looks like this Gemini here is jumping on this Warbeast. He might actually kill him. Oh, one more auto attack, and he does! Wow, even underneath with the tower. That's the power of Gemini. I mean, that hero, early on, I mean, the armor penetration, just the agility gain, all he has is treads. That's it. That's it. He has treads. And with treads and treads alone, that's enough armor penetration to get from the agility gain to actually just cut right through that Warbeast. There was nothing he could do. The Warbeast obviously doesn't have boots. I mean, no Warbeast picks up boots this early on. So the treads give him the movement speed in order to chase him down. And it looks like this Grinex is going to try to jump on this Gunblade. He's not going to be able to do anything. He's actually... They may try to turn this on the Master of Arms. No, they're going back on the Gunblade here. Engineer throws out the turret. Bubbles ulties in to try to... Yep, they're going to get the kill here on Gunblade. And they're going to try to turn this on Glacius, but it looks like they may actually get a kill on Master of Arms. Grinex jumps in deep, stuns him into the cliff, but it gets turned on him eventually with the Tempest porting in. And the Bubbles does port and gets the pick off onto the Gunblade. Wow, that was actually a really good play by the Bubbles. And the thing is, there's nobody. He's going to get away scotch-free. The Tempest isn't going to be able to chase him down. That was a really good play by Bubbles. Really good play. You can't even call it an overextension. Grinex... Him dying in the mid lane, and I missed another kill top. Wow. This Gemini is doing work to this Warbeast. Playmaker is not having a good time top. Not in the slightest. And the thing is, he's fighting under his tower. Under his tower. So basically, all that's happening is this Gemini is sending the fire dog, or whatever the hell you want to call him, fire, all the way back to the well. He's going to pick up an item. He's going to port him back top, then they're going to recombine. And he can keep doing that over and over and over again, unless they get some kind of roam top, or unless they decide to transition here. Maybe just let this Gunblade sit here by himself. Maybe give him a Rev Ward or something like that, and let the Engineer, I'm not the Engineer, but the Master of Arms head top, and maybe sit this Warbeast. He's going to keep dying over and over and over again to this Gemini. There's nothing he can do. Until he picks up boots, there's absolutely nothing to do. If he gets stunned and then double nuked, that's it. He can't do anything. So there we go. There's the port back. And we'll actually see what happens here. I'm gonna stay. Oh, I lost my cursor. What happened, guys? Okay, so they used the Tempest ultimate to actually get a pick on Gemini, which is really, really smart. Tempest ultimate, Master of Arms goo, a lot of minus physical armor. The dogs plus the Warbeast pounding in on him was enough to get the kill. Anytime you can slow down Gemini farming at the rate that he's farming right now is a good idea. But this is going to allow the Gunblade here in the middle to recuperate a little bit. Alright, so let's look at some of the item pickups right now. We do see that Gunblade did pick up the Soul Scream Ring, which is telling me he's going to go Energizer. Gaunlet has already finished his Steam Boots. Warbeast spamming the War Cry like he's supposed to. He doesn't have much other than the Ring of the Teacher, but he needs that additional armor, because we talked about earlier about how little starting armor Warbeast actually has. And they are roaming pretty... So the warding jump from each team is actually pretty spot on. They can see everything that each one of these teams is trying to do. Gunblade isn't in a really good spot. He's going to see this Grinex close in on him. Oh, and he's going to jump on him here. I don't know if he's going to have enough DPS. Yes, he's going to kill him. The nice thing about the Gunblade ulti is it actually leeches. So once he uses that ultimate, he hooks himself to Grinex. So no matter what Grinex does, think of it like a Rampage ulti. He can't invis away. There's absolutely nothing that he can do. So he's going to get at least 2 or 3 auto attacks off. And if he has, let's see how many points he has. He doesn't actually have anything. Oh, yes, he does. Lethal range. So he did put 2 points into lethal range, which means that his damage is going to be amplified by plus 45 bonus base damage when he's on top of him. So Gunblade at level 7 is hitting for over 100 with boots and a Soul Scream Ring when he's point blank on you at melee range, which is pretty big on at the 9-minute mark in the game. If you can have a hero hitting over 100 DPS, imagine that's kind of what Gemini's doing right now. So Gemini does go the Soul Scream Ring and the Grave Locket, the stats hound that he is. Everybody knows that's all you need on Gemini. Just get the stats. Stats. Eventually get himself a Shrunken Head or a Dawnbringer. Well, a Dawnbringer and a Shrunken Head, and that hero is just unstoppable. Playmaker's team does seem to have itself in a slight lead in gold, but like I talked about before, because of the roam of the Glacius and the Engineer here, it makes it very difficult for them to gain experience and levels. If they continue to get kills and picks beyond the 6 that they have right now, they are leading in hero kills, but they need to be leading more if they want to make something out of these 2 supports the way that they're playing them. The Bubbles does pick up on early vestments. Always a great pickup on Bubbles because, as we know, Bubbles is a pretty frail hero. He doesn't have the largest life pool. And the Master of Arms, wow, they are being very aggressive with these wards. They're probably trying to allow Tempest to regain some of that farm. That's the only reason I could think that they would be so dominant in putting the wards spread across the top of the Hellborn jungle like they are. They are allowing this engineer and this well, this Glacius is still roaming around pretty solid. Okay, so they use the Bubbles ultimate here in the center. He does silence the Gunblade. Grinex does stun him into the cliff. He's going to fall here with the turret. We do have 2 ports mid with the Tempest and the Master of Arms, but it doesn't really matter. They got there a little bit too late. They did have to use a decent amount to kill him, and they may jump back in here on this Tempest. They don't have sight of him. And you would think at this point in the game, if they know this Grinex is going to be here mid, somebody would put down a Rev Ward. Somebody would put down some kind of Rev Ward. Sorry, guys. I have a little bit of an issue right now. Sorry, guys. I missed another kill. I had a cat issue with my desk. You know how animals can be. So it looks like Gemini picked up another kill on who? Onto the Tempest. Well, that's actually a really good pickup for them. The Tempest ultimate is back up. So I imagine they might want to make something happen here, whether it's pushing a tower or try and get a pick on another hero. This Grinex is not doing too bad. They do get a kill bottom on the Bubbles with the Gauntlet and the Gunblade. Gunblade did not use his ultimate, so they might be able to turn and also jump on this engineer. He's going to stay pretty hidden behind the tower here, and Gunblade's not going to risk his life for it. Gaunlet ultimately does pick up the portal key, which is huge. 12-minute portal key plus boots. Gauntlet's pretty set. Maybe he could turn his next item into, say, a Shrunken Head or maybe a Demonic. I don't know which avenue he's going to go down. He may even go something of a support item like a Hellflower. Hellflower is a huge pickup on Gauntlet. But they are going to push this bottom lane. Tempest does have the ultimate. He has the minions spawn. Gunblade's here. They have all 5 bottom. All 5 are bottom. The Legion had destroyed a Hellborn tower. Gemini gets the solo tower kill top. And as you can see, Gemini is far and above everybody else in farm and experience. We're looking at 560 experience per minute. There's not anybody even in the same realm right now on the Hellborn team. The Gemini does look like he's roaming through the Hellborn jungle thinking there's a potential he might run into somebody, but I don't know if they could see that all 5 were bottom. I think the only person that wasn't visible was the Bubbles, but they are going to rotate mid here and see if they can try to put some pressure on this tower. Each team only down a tower piece early on. It's not too bad. The experience and overall gold are relatively very even at the 13-minute mark, which is very good. I like to see that because it makes the transition to mid-game a hell of a lot more fun. They are going to jump onto the Engineer here. Engineer drops his ultimate. Warbeast ulties. He's trying to chase down the Engineer. They're going to turn this on this Warbeast. Warbeast falls. Gunblade is doing a lot of damage to the Bubbles. He turns and he actually kills the Grinex and the Bubbles. And it looks like they're going to try to chase down this Glacius. This Glacius is in a really, really bad spot. The Gemini is here, though. So, regardless of how many kills the Hellborn team just got, they're not going to go in the position that they're in right now with the Gemini being up and this Glacius to follow up. You're going to see an Ice Imprisonment on the Gauntlet. They're going to try to turn this. This Gauntlet's going to fall. Master of Arms uses the ultimate on the Gauntlet and a Energizer to get away from the Gunblade. Who do we have porting in? Okay, we have the Warbeast porting in. Warbeast does have his little red booties now, so he's not going to be able to get away from the Gemini again. But he may be able to survive long enough now to actually have someone of his team poured in to save him. The one thing I do not like about Gunblade, and I don't know if this is the reason why he's not played on a diamond tier, if his crippling slug scaled better,
he would probably be picked up all the time. The issue with Crippling Slugs, it deals 90 physical damage and applies a 17% stacking slow. And the Gemini gets a pick off of Master of Arms. Man, I am terrible about getting these pickoffs by the Gemini because he just kills the hero so incredibly fast. Nice hook by Gaunlet. He jumps in and he's going to get the kill. I had to burn the ultimate, but it was totally worth it. Infernal Stability, or Power Glove as Breaky likes to call it, is such a bursty skill, especially early on. Oh, see, that's the thing. Oh, they're going to jump here on the Glacius. I'm sorry, not Glacius, but the Engineer. The Engineer just melts. And Grinex is going to go on the Gauntlet, stuns him into the cliff. Bubble shell surfs, but there's no follow-up there. Gunblade does go in. He hits all 3 heroes with the Crippling Slugs. That's the thing. You know, it's level 4. Level 4, the hero's level 11. So you max out Crippling Slugs. But 90 damage. 90 damage, 4 bursts. So you're looking at, what, 360 physical damage that's affected by physical armor reduction, which you're obviously going to build most of, especially when you have agility heroes that you're going against. It's a really, really bad skill late game, and this Gemini is going to get a kill on this Tempest. Unless this Master of Arms can come in and stun. He does land the stun. They're going to try to turn this on this Master of Arms. This Master of Arms is not going to get away. He's just going to sacrifice himself. And that's it. They may be able to catch this Tempest too. They know that he didn't have a TP. They know he's trying to get back. The Grinex has spotted him. He's probably going to jump. The Gauntlet does hook him forward. The Grinex is still going. Oh no, he's not going to dive under the tower. So, the pursuit ends right there. They might be able to do something to this Gauntlet here. They have 100% vision, but instead the Gemini decides to jump on the Warbeast and just melts him. Bubble shell surfs in, silences, and they're going to end up killing this Gauntlet too. The sad part about it is all these kills that the Legion side is getting, they still only have an 1,800 gold lead. An 1,800 gold lead. And that's because all the farm right now has been basically put on one hero. All the farm right now is on Gemini. One, because that's who has all the kills, which I guess is good in the sense that that's who you want to have all your farm on in the later game. But if you look at the Hellborn side, we have 3 heroes currently above 300 GPM. The 3 heroes that we want gold on in the early game, Gunblade, Gauntlet, and Tempest, and Warbeast is going to make up his farm. There's no doubt in my mind that Warbeast is going to make up his farm. It's just that I think that some of these heroes, especially the Grinex and the Bubbles, need to pick up their farm. I don't know where they're going to get it at. I don't know if they're just going to continue to prioritize the farm on the Gemini, but it looks like the Hellborn team here might group up and push this middle tower. The Legion team, they are rotating as if they're going to defend it, but this tower is already at half-life. Now they're just going to let it fall. There's no reason to defend this. Tier 1 tower. I think they think they're ahead. So by allowing them to have that tower, they're probably not thinking that they're giving up a lot. But like I talked about before, because of how incredibly under-leveled the Glacius and the Engineer are, it affects your entire team. Their GPM. You know, you're looking at 150 GPM basically on both heroes compared to 150 GPM on the Master of Arms. And then your late game carry potential hero in the Warbeast, he's only sitting at 200 GPM right now, but that is going to change. The GPM on these other 2 heroes, the Glacius and the Engineer, that's not going to change. And it looks like, oh my goodness, Gunblade's not going to get away. Just the burst potential. It is incredible to watch how much damage the Gemini can do. And he's just going to continue doing the same thing. He splits the dogs, sends one back, or sends one to the other lane, recombines them, and he repeats the process all over again. Over and over and over again. So right now, we're looking at a tower advantage for the Hellborn team. So, there's your gold. There's your 1,000 gold difference. And it is starting to close up, primarily because the Bubbles are starting to regain some of his farm, but this Gemini is far and away above everybody else. But still, I'm saying the late game potential, I think, because of the Tempest factor, the Gauntlet, if the Warbeast can recover, the Hellborn are in a better position. The 2 things, well, I guess the 3 things that the Legion team have going for them that scale really, really well into the late game. One, the Bubble's ultimate, the Engineer ultimate, and that Gemini. The Gemini is truly not a force to be reckoned with right now. And this Bubbles, I don't know if he's looking to get a jump here. He is shell surfing in, so he has some knowledge that he's there. I want to go over a little bit of an item check while we're kind of at a lull, but it looks like Warbeast does finish that Abyssal Skull. Tempest finishes the Astrolabe, so he is going more of a tanky teamfight presence. He has the Mana Ring on top of that. It looks like Gunblade's going Shroud, which I don't necessarily agree with. They don't have any other Invis heroes on their team like the Grinex, so it might not be that bad of a pickup. It looks like the Gauntlet is going to go straight into Shrunken Head, which is probably a good decision. The thing about the Shrunken Head pickup on Gauntlet is if the Gemini jumps on you, it really doesn't matter if you have Shrunken Head or not, because everything he does is physical, with the exception of his nukes. But the armor penetration, it does not care about Shrunken Head. It truly doesn't care about Shrunken Head. So, oh man, this Tempest is in a really bad spot. Try to kill the illusion. It's not happening. Master of Arms stuns him away, but the armor penetration. Look at how hard he hits! 3 auto attacks. That's all it took to kill the Master of Arms. And we do see the Engineer fall, but this Gemini, he's trying to turn it. The Grinex stuns in, takes out the Gunblade, and the Bubble's ultimate keeps the other 2 in place. My goodness, this might be it. They might concede here. The concede vote has been thrown up. I don't know. They are calling GG's.
Defeat.
And there it is, guys.
Legion wins.
They didn't want to take it to the late game. I mean, they had the distributive farm across 3 of their heroes, but the level 17 Gemini was just too much to deal with. He was sitting at almost 600 GPM at that point in the game. And I don't blame him. I mean, it's really discouraging to go into a team fight like that, get a really early pick on the Engineer, but then have your entire team melt from just one hero.
The Legion had destroyed a Hellborn tower.
One hero did it all. Well, this is Nick Saberwolf Perenni with another SaberCast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks. Hey, Bubba. What are you doing? You go...